Hello and welcome to another session of Canvas Live. Canvas Live sessions are presented by the Canvas community members and or instructor employees to help Canvas users improve and enhance their teaching and learning with Canvas. Today's session, we're going to talk about Quest for Community Domination. My name is B-Rai. I'm a community manager here at Instructure, and we're going to talk about the reward system in our community. We recently underwent a change, and we're going to highlight some of the changes here today and how they reflect our participation in the community. So what is the Canvas Community Reward System? It's a way to surface good content and expert members and onboard new users into the Canvas community. This has always been our mission. This has always sort of been the underlying goal of the reward system anyway, but the new changes will hopefully help drive this mission forward. It's also one part of a greater coordinated member engagement strategy. We are always striving to have a very dynamic, knowledge-based community. We want to be resourceful. We want to help people connect and interact with each other. We're always looking to support that. And so the reward system is just one aspect of everything we do as a community team to make the community an easy to navigate and surface good content to help users use Canvas at the time that they need it. Another thing about the Canvas Community Rewards or the reward system is it's just another way to reinforce our company's culture as well. We like to have fun. We like a little competition. We really want to promote sharing, most importantly, and we really want to promote that sort of warm, welcoming culture. And I think the community at large does that, and our reward system is just a reflection, another reflection of that value. So in the fall of 2016, we revisited our community reward system and decided that it was time for a review. It had been at play for almost 2 years, a little over, just almost 2 years, actually. And, you know, a lot of changes have happened in the community over the last couple of years. And we wanted to also kind of look and see and evaluate if our current reward structure was meeting our needs. And we also wanted to get some feedback on what our community members were thinking about it. We surveyed a cross-section of members, those who were super active, power users in the community, to those who were barely active, who came in, got what they needed, and left. Some people reacted like this to the change, and you know who you are. No, I think some people were just kind of shocked and nervous. They have made a lot of contributions to the community and wanted to kind of understand and how that transition would impact them, of course. Some responded like this and weren't even aware that we had a reward system. So it was kind of the survey was their first awareness to points and leaderboards and badges and all that fun stuff. But most people that we surveyed, the majority, were pretty positive. The response was basically like, yes, for sure, do what you need to do. We're okay with a reboot, if you will, and some significant changes if it's for the good of the community. But at the end of the day, some of the feedback that coupled with this was, you know, just make sure there's a fair way to transition. In other words, those who really did contribute a lot in the community over the last couple of years, who really surfaced as experts, as helpers, as supporters, as good reputation, somehow that was going to be, you know, give credit where credit was due, and somehow that needed to be recognized in some way, shape, or form. So we took that feedback and we designed something that aligned with the things you said and you wanted to see, and tried to match that with the overall community goals as well. So here's kind of an overview of what main things we looked at in order to continue along with this new system. We wanted to be more focused or have a less top-down approach. So rather than us kind of creating badges and missions to kind of deliver to the community, we wanted to be able to share that experience with others as well. So in this new system, there's more peer-to-peer recognition. So some of you have already discovered the fact that you can give badges to each other and give points to each other even. So we thought that element would definitely increase the camaraderie, increase the engagement, and obviously increase the fact that people would get more points for doing things other than the tasks that we give them in a badge. So we're excited about this, and we think this was primarily one of the #1 reasons why we wanted to kind of reevaluate and shift into this new system. We also wanted to give out less gimmicky badges. We know that in the community, we wanted, the feedback we got is that people want more recognition for the quality contributions that they make, the knowledge of Canvas that they have, and the investment they make in the community, to share that. And so that has a lot of value. So we approached badging less in terms of what you do in the community and more in terms of maybe micro-credentialing in a way. You know, the things you do, the things that you share, the skills that you have play a role not just in the community, but externally in your own communities, in your own schools and organizations. And so the badges that we give, you'll find, tend to lean towards 3 main areas. The things that you learn about Canvas. So it'll showcase when you go to a user profile page, you'll see that the badges that they've been awarded say something about what they know about Canvas. One other area you'll notice is that badges will reward networking opportunities. So, you know, you'll see badges for connecting and collaborating with people. So part of being invested in the communities to have those opportunities to meet new people. And so you'll see more badges that sort of profile users more and encourage people to follow other users and network and collaborate. And then you'll also find badges that show your investment in Canvas in general. So when you attend, for example, InstructureCon, that's your way of learning, it's your way of connecting and networking, and it's also your way of investing in the company and learning more about what we're doing. And so those types of badges, so for InstructureCon and things like that, those badges will also be part of our suite of badges, I suppose. It'll be less about points-based reputation and more about the expertise or resourcefulness-based reputation. So we're trying to minimize the weight that points have in the community. And so just because you have X number of points does not necessarily mean that you're an expert or you're resourceful. Sure, it has some correlations, of course, but we want to surface good people, smart people that are sharing, that are really expert in the niche or in a sort of a market or a field. We want to surface and give credit to those things. So you'll find that we're going to reward reputation a little bit differently in this system, and points isn't the only thing or indicator that will determine your status. In other words, this again will help as we move forward. As you give points to other users, you'll be recognized in ways that are just not necessarily linked to points. There's also going to be less emphasis on viewing things and more emphasis about meeting people, learning different things and sharing experiences together. So again, goes back to the networking thing. It's not to say that we don't have a lot of people consuming information and looking at lots of different resources in the community. But in the past, in the previous system, there was a lot of points and triggers associated with just viewing stuff. And so here we're going to try to focus on more interactivity and consuming information in a curated fashion So it's not just about viewing a bunch of guides, it's viewing a set of guides. It's not about just watching a lot of videos randomly, it's curating those videos in a quest or a mission and say, watch these and reflect on them. So it's a little bit more purposeful. That said, I want to kind of transition into what does this new system look like and feel like? There's 3 different parts to the Canvas Community Rewards system. There's effectively 3 ways you can get points and gain points in the community. There are these things called strategy missions, quests, and user badges. So I'm going to, in each of these things that you engage with, whether you give or receive badges, whether you participate in quests or strategy missions, they will all sort of roll up into your global points and levels. Let's talk first about strategy missions. Strategy missions are something that's pre-built into this system. So this is probably the one area of this new system that we have the least control over customizing. But the idea behind strategy missions is to surface behaviors based on categories. So there are 6 different categories of strategy missions. Their categories are, for example, innovation. So there'll be a list of behaviors and missions underneath the innovation category that lead towards if you're kind of an innovator in the community. So those missions tend to lean on behaviors like how, creating ideas, voting on ideas, commenting on ideas. So the system kind of packaged these different types of actions in the community and aligned them with these categories of things like innovation, or the yellow one in the middle is support. It's a category that means certain behaviors in the community, like being marked as helpful or constantly commenting on things. These things sort of roll up into this category as someone in the community who is a supporter, a support type behavior. And again, this part I wouldn't really worry too much on. I think the idea behind this is definitely worth looking into, but I think for purposes of our community, it's just a way to quantify ongoing behaviors in the community. So let's take the support category. The support category has 4 mini missions, or 4 missions underneath the category. And as you can see, there's only 2 of them I was able to show here, but there's the inquisitive mission, the reader mission, and underneath each of these missions, you see kind of what you have to do in order to get points to that roll up into that mission. So if I click on mission details, so here's another mission, helper mission, that falls under the support category. And it basically says if you comment on something in the community, or you have your content marked as helpful by someone else, you get points. You're going to get points for this regardless. But when you hit a threshold, and in this particular mission, the threshold is 50. So if you do these 2 things enough times and you hit a level 50, then you technically will receive the helper badge once. And if you do it again, you get it twice, and you do it again, you get it 3 times. And so basically, this is just a way to kind of bundle and track a group of triggers in the community, or actions, behaviors in the community, kind of in these little bundles that they sort of categorized as different things. How does that reflect on you as a person in the community? I think that's the bigger question. Basically, what that means is if you go to a person's profile page, you get to see quickly how many of these missions people have earned. So for example, in this profile, we can see that this person has earned the helper mission 17 times. And if you click on the helper mission, as I did in the previous session, in the previous slide, you'll see that the behaviors that are bundled under that particular mission. So therefore, you can quickly gauge from looking at somebody's profile page kind of what areas they really tend to have strength in. And you can see, again, it's still too early since we just launched this new system, but over time you will see people whose focus tend to be more in the ideas and voting, and the other people whose real focus is into helping, and other people whose focus is into connecting and connecting content and curating content, and other people whose focus tend to be authoring knowledge and authoring content. So they'll have a lot of the knowledge missions in the knowledge category. So that's really for the purposes of the community. I think that's really what the important thing is to know, that everything you do will trickle up into one of these categories. So the other part of the community, obviously, is quests. Now, quests, unlike strategy missions that constantly track your ongoing activity, quests is purely a checklist of one-time activities. So, for example, the one on the left here, you see the pink one, that's an onboarding mission or onboarding quest. And basically, as you are a new person in the community, you do these sort of checklists of how to get oriented into the community, and you get the badge that says, yeah, I've updated my profile. Great. I now know the significant areas. I've done the big community tour. Okay, great, awesome. You don't need to do these again. The one in the middle, the mobile series, is just another example of how we bundle certain content in the community. So in this particular one, we bundled several sort of good 3 or 4 videos related to mobile, so that you can quickly go in, watch those videos, make a comment or takeaway, and get this badge that basically tells you, okay, I'm kind of up to speed with everything mobile for Canvas, at least for now. So these are the types of things you want to kind of promote. There are some things that will require you to do sort of a sequence of events, and we want to make sure that once you've completed that sequence that you do get rewarded for it. So that's what quests are really more about. Here's an example of completing another on the left of the power profile, completing your profile when you first come into the community. Do these things and you'll kind of understand a little bit more about how your presence is in the community. The one on the left, the honor roll, we do this every quarter. We will have a badge to follow these 10 people, depending on if you're in higher ed or K-12. So this is our way of recognizing some up and coming community members who've really contributed in their spaces across the community. And by following them, they get a little bit of a boost in their visibility. So of course, you get a badge that says, I'm aware of the top sort of some up and coming contributors in the community. I better kind of network with them. And they get an opportunity to kind of increase their network as well. So again, this is the type of strategy that we're approaching these badges with, so that you can continue to learn about Canvas and continue to network with the people that we as a community team can see kind of at a higher level of the different people and how they're contributing. And of course, the third part in the community, or how you get badges, is the peer-to-peer badge. And then, so this is the part that I think could be a really good, valuable part of our community is, when somebody answers somebody in the community, you post a question and somebody responds, yes, you can say, thank you for your response. You really saved me, or that was such a useful tip. But now you also have the opportunity, or the added bonus, to not only award community badge or one of these badges, but you also have an opportunity to, while you're awarding this badge, send them a message and also send them some of your own points to say, hey, you really did an awesome job. Here's 50 points on top of that. So now there's a little bit more, a little more added bonus. And I think this will increase some of the ways we communicate in the community beyond just sort of back and forth conversation. And I'll demo all of this stuff for you in the end here. I'm just kind of going high level of what you can do. So those 3 ways, strategy missions, quests, and user badges, are ways that you can gain points and give points away. We also did a little bit of a different, we repurposed the leveling structure a little bit. In the old system, we had 9 levels. And we noticed by looking at the data in the back end that most members in the community got stuck at level 3 and level 6. And by getting stuck, it wasn't just like, oh, I'm, for months they were stuck, or they stayed in level 4 forever. Another issue with our leveling structure in the last system was that, someone in level 4 could have had 1,500 points, but the same person, a different person in level 4 could have had 4,300 points, for instance. And that range was too big to determine who was the more, they're just different. Somebody at level 4 meant different things for different people. So we reevaluated our point structure and added 20 levels instead of 9, and made it such that you could really progress more smoothly across the different levels. Now, though, we'll still see how it works. Of course, it's always trial and error, but and so when we arrange these different levels, rather than naming them each one level 1, 2, and 3, or naming, each level something different, we wanted to kind of group them together based on what we thought the behavior of somebody in that sort of stage in their community would be. So somebody brand new to the community would be a freshman, anything under 50 points. Somebody who has been active in the community could be a learner. So for the first part, when you first come into the community, a lot of it's just learning how the community works, where things are, learning about Canvas. So you're kind of in that sort of consumption learning mode. Again, this is a little bit different now, given that we've all had a level reset. So it may not be an indicator immediately, but I think over time you'll get a sense of who's still brand new to the community and who's been here for a long time. And as you're learning and consuming different things, we catered the badging, not the badging, but the quests, so that you can quickly move through the system. So for those of you who've been in the community for a long time, you'll just, you'll do the onboarding quests and immediately come up to level 3 pretty quickly. And that's the intention, because somebody new in the community, it shouldn't be very hard to get to level 1, 2, and 3. It should be motivating to kind of quickly do a couple of missions, get a couple of quests completed, be welcomed into the community by other users with user badges, and quickly level up. So that was the thought process there. In the transition from the old community to the new community, we recognized that there was about a threshold at level 3, which was about 500 points, where investment in the community started to become apparent. And so when we transitioned to this new system, we decided that it would be appropriate that anyone who was at level 3, which was 500 points and above, which is the same thing here, level 3 is the only thing that's the same, 500 points and above, that anyone was in level 3 and above in the old system would automatically start with at level 3 and above in the new system. Because like I said, we thought by the time you reach level 3, you're significantly invested and at the very least aware that we have a rewards system in the community in place. Anybody below 500 could either level up to level 3 in the new system with all of the new onboarding quests available that they can quickly complete and kind of rank right back up to level 3. But it'll also allow those people below level 3 who lost all their points an opportunity to kind of become more aware of the system, of the reward system, because a lot of people didn't even exist. In our data analysis, we learned that those who were in level 0, 1, 2 either weren't aware that we had a system in place or were kind of not motivated to do it. So hopefully this will be another opportunity to re-engage some of those people. The next set of levels were educator levels. The thought process here is that at this point, you're pretty much engaged in the community. It doesn't have to be regular, but you understand a little bit about what the community offers, the benefits. You've navigated around. You have an idea of who's who. And you're at the point where you're still learning about Canvas. You're still learning about the community, but you're also now kind of educating a lot more. You're responding to comments more. Perhaps you've blogged a few times. Perhaps you've created a discussion topic or you've engaged in a Canvas live session. So at this point, you really are invested in not just, consuming information and getting answers, but you're starting to go into that feedback mode of responding and supporting other people in the community. At this point, you probably are having a lot of fun giving user badges to people. In our data analysis, we also noticed that those people who are in these levels also not only contributed more and created more and authored more documents, we also noted that they were more into blogging as well. And so we decided that when you reach educator status, we will look at your contributions in the community, and if you have created 10 blogs or more, you will get your own blog. So on your profile, rather than currently in the current system, you can only blog in a specific group that you are a member of. So if you want to blog about something related to K-12, then you probably need to go join the K-12 group so that you can blog under the group's sort of official blog. But we found that there are a lot of useful feedback that people provided, that it's not about the group that they belong to, it's just that you want to follow and be part of what they're saying. So we're giving those members user blogs. So if you achieve educator status anywhere between 4,000 and 15,000 points, and you have created 10 or more blog posts in the community around in different groups and stuff where you can blog, then you will be awarded your own blog, and therefore you can continue blogging and creating sort of a more streamlined set of commentary across the community. As we transitioned into this new system, we wanted to note that those people who were in level 5 or above, or I'm sorry, level 3, 4, and 5 and above, and have created a significant number of blogs in under the old system, that they would automatically start in this new system with blogs, even though because we level set, obviously they don't have 4,000 points at this point, but the equivalent of their status in the old system warrants their having a blog. So I just wanted to give a shout out to Chris Hofer, Dallas Holsey, Kelly L. Musin, Kona Jones, Rob Ditto, Chris Long, Kristen Lundstrom, Adam Williams, Evan Frazier, Rob Gibson, James Jones, Denise DeJong, sorry if I mispronounced that, Denise, Susan Hicks, Gideon Williams, Sean Newfer, Joshua Emmett, Garth Egbert, Don Brim, Dr. Rimmer, Amanda Warren Marshall, Susan Jones, and Laura Gibbs. These people have contributed a lot. They've blogged a lot. They have a lot of cool things to say. So we thought, have your own blog and continue contributing to the community. So congrats to these users. Moving on, the next set of levels is the advocate level. And at this point, you're not only learning and educating others about Canvas, but we recognize that the behaviors of the people who are at this sort of level of community engagement, we wanted them to contribute with more strategic focus. So if you reach advocate level, you will have access to a secret group called Quests for Community Domination. And in this group, there will be additional quests available that are not available to the community at large. And these quests are a little bit more strategic and a little bit more time sensitive and bundled in a way that I think will be more useful to the people who've been active and very familiar in the community at this point. So one example might be, a challenge where there has been some questions that haven't been answered because we just don't have an answer to them. For instance, that they have difficulty. They've been around for so long, but there just hasn't been enough attention on them. So we might kind of create that as a challenge. Or it might be something so simple as, here are some admin-related questions that are in the Find Answers. We can theme them. Can you go in and answer them a little bit? So again, it constantly comes back to the curation of content. So as a person who's been very active in the community, and maybe you're an admin and you understand, you have your sort of expertise or your area that you really know, you want to come into the community and you want to help people out. But when you go into the Find Answers forum, it's pretty extensive and maybe overwhelming to go through to try to figure out, well, what needs an answer. So in this level, we want you to still contribute, but we help you by curating some content, some questions, some challenges, so that we leverage your expertise in a much more focused way, so you're not wasting time kind of like wandering in the community and wondering what you can do to help. At this stage, we know you've got a a lot to offer, and we want to continue focusing your energies in that way, in a more appropriate way. So again, in the transition from the old community or old system, reward system, to the new one, we identified those users as anyone who was in level 4 or above. And so we identified about 100 different users. I won't name them all, but in the next week, you should be able to, you'll be getting an invitation to this community. And in this specific, and you'll start to see some unique and challenging. I mean, at this stage, we're not saying this is easy, but we're going to have some fun with you because you're pretty invested at this point, and we hopefully will get some good things. And so these will be a little bit more point heavy, and of course that'll help you quickly move on to the next level, which is the next group of levels is luminary status. So luminary is kind of the people who they've been recognized as an expert in their market or domain, or they have a niche in terms of what they do with Canvas. They help others use Canvas, but they do it in a way that increases user adoption of Canvas. I mean, they provide unique and interesting workarounds, for example, or they contribute a lot of feedback that when readers come across, they don't just say, hey, thanks for answering my question. They say things like, you've changed my life. I didn't realize you could do this in Canvas. And so by result, it makes it easier for people to continue using the product because they feel like, wow, I know a workaround or a trick that saved me 7 hours of work, for example. So, you know, there's no real measurement of this other than the sentiment that we see around users like this. Now, granted, in order to reach luminary status, you need to have 100,000 points, but we recognize those from the old system that had that same level of expertise, and we match that. So if you see somebody who has a flame next to their name whenever they're contributing, just recognize that they've been, even though we've quote unquote level set at the community, that we wanted to give an opportunity to represent status or reputation in another way besides points. And so they're getting this flame next to their name because they've really done and gone above and beyond to really help in the community, to share, to get them to stay engaged. And so I want to give a shout out to Evan Frazier, Susan Hicks, Dallas Holsey, Rob Ditto, Dale Dries, Jeff Ferner, James Jones, Tanya Mercer, Ken Black, Corey Schneider, Joni Miller, Sean Neufer, Susan Nugent, Tracy DeLeo, John Lowe, and Ryan Seelhammer. They were at level 5 and above, and their contributions really made a dent in the community and almost helped revise things, repurpose things, allowed us to look differently at Canvas and consider things in a different way. And so I just wanted to, we all here on the community team wanted to recognize that not only have you really committed to being a part of the community, but you've surfaced as a luminary in our eyes. But, not just in our eyes, but the data, of course, shows that you were actually doing a lot of cool things, and people were viewing your content and downloading your content and sharing your content and the things that you did too. So trying to be objective here, but we appreciate everything you do, of course. And then finally, as you see, we go up in level to scholar and philosopher. These are your longtime users. They take deep dives into various topics. They're committed to effectively leveraging Canvas, and they're dedicated to help evolve the product and adoption of Canvas in education in general. And as we get to these higher levels, we'll continue to recognize them in our unique and special way. So keep driving and keep committing and keep engaging. We wanted to give a shout out to the person who was #1 in the previous system, though, because you're probably wondering who was #1 and they just lost all their points. Well, you're right. It was a tight race to the end there, but we want to give a shout out to our top leaderboard members, of course, and we wanted to say to Stephanie, who lost 30,000 plus points and went to 0 basically in like a blink of an eye. that we appreciate you, and we appreciate you so much that we hired you. We're so excited to have you on our team. So yay to Stephanie and to everybody on the top 5 in the community. You know, we appreciate you. We definitely recognize you in both, you know, overt ways and personal ways. But, you know, Stephanie, welcome to the team. So in case you're wondering if the person who was number 1 was really bummed about losing her points, I'm pretty sure if you ask her, she's probably going to say, no, I'm not bummed. So yes, everybody is a complete rock star. We love you all, and we love working with you. And I'm pretty sure they're going to rise up in the ranks very quickly. So no doubt there. All right, so I'm going to switch over to a demo so that some of the questions that I saw come up in the community or in the chat, I hopefully will answer there. Let's see. Okay, so here I am at my profile page. As you can see, there's a couple of ways to kind of access the quests and the reward system in the community. So from your profile page, you can click on rewards, or you can click on the point system or point level up here. For some reason, the rewards is not working for everyone. If you click on rewards, you may get an error. But for some people, it's not a problem at all. So you click on rewards. Either way, if you click on the point system over here, point level, you'll be able to access your reward system. And so here I am under the rewards, and you can see that I have my strategy missions here, and I can filter by the ones that I've earned and the ones that I haven't earned, and there's still a lot more here. All of my quests that I've completed are down here. I think there was a question about you know, where can I find the honor roll quests and things like that. So these are the ones I've completed, and these are the available quests that I have. So if you want to know about the honor roll, here's where they are. They're probably down here. If you click on any of these things, so there was a question on what's the difference between grouping and connect and things like that, you can just click on it specifically, and you'll see that grouping is part of the growth chart, so the growth category. And under growth, there's sharing, grouping, leadership. And the purpose of this category is to sow the seeds of a successful community. And so it tells you here that if you follow another user, you'll get 2 points. And part of networking and engaging and things like that and growing your community is bundled under this particular trigger. Now, again, like I said, this is the area of the new reward system that we don't have a lot of customization around, but that's okay. At least you know kind of how it's created. And clearly, I have earned 33 points towards this bundle, this mission, and after following, you know, another 10 users, I probably will get 1 here. And then as I continue to follow users, I'll probably continue to increase my grouping mission. Hopefully that answers the question. And so as far as the quests down here, you can see, you know, just by clicking what you have to do in order to, we'll have a lot of playlists again. You know, here's a playlist for organizing Canvas. So if you wanted to watch these videos, come back, mark it complete, and get this badge. Here's the honor roll badge that somebody had asked about earlier. Click on that, and it'll tell you who to follow. Just a reminder, because a lot of us have been in the community for a few years, and you may have been already following these users. And if that's the case, just go ahead and unfollow and follow them again, and that will trigger it if it's not triggering. These are your onboarding missions. So if you want to update your profile, here's what you should do. If you want to do the community tour, a community orientation, here's what you should do. This will help new users quickly orient themselves into how to function in the community. Not necessarily a tour, not necessarily updating profile, but like, how do you comment on something? How do you follow a place? How do you follow a person? How do you mention someone? Things like that. Over here is your overall progress. This will tell you like what levels are available. So you can see quickly how many points and how many levels there are. And then you can see the community leaderboard, which I'll show you in just a second. And then the recent badges that you've received, badges meaning user badges. So I can quickly hover over one of the user badges and know who it's from and when it was sent, 2 days ago, for example. And then top expert badges just means if you have gotten in the community overall, and again, it may or may not be a big deal, but for example, I think you'll recognize that it might be more valuable as we continue in the community over the next year or something, but probably not so much at the beginning. So remember how I told you there are these strategy badges or the strategy missions? So something like this one, the reader, is part of the support. And if you receive under the support category, if you're one of the top 5 people who have received these badges underneath the support, then you will get something on here that basically says support ×1. So 1 support badge you've received, or expert badge. And basically what that means is over time, once again, just like I said before, if you look at these mission badges, you'll see that this person is very influential, or a lot of the stuff that they go viral. But down here, you'll see the categories like 2 times innovation, 3 times support, 1 time engagement. Like the categories will be here at the bottom. So it's another way for you to quickly look at a person's profile and recognize what category their expertise lies. That's all it means. Take it with a grain of salt, I guess, but I'm just trying to kind of understand, help you understand what these different areas are. One of the coolest things and one of the reasons that we moved into this new system was the user badges. So I wanted to give you an opportunity to show how you can give a user badge to a different user. There are 5 ways you can actually give user badges, believe it or not. And so this helps you, I think this helps you to stay engaged without having to leave like the conversation or the thread that you're engaged in to go give a user a badge. So the first way you can give user a badge is going to their profile. That's pretty obvious. You go to their profile, you click under actions, you give a badge. That's pretty straightforward. Another way you can give a badge is you find something really awesome in the community and you're like, hey, this is a funny video. Thanks for sharing. And so you can go up to the actions, whatever content item that you're in, as long as you're not the author, you can give Susan a badge that way, right there. But perhaps you're having an awesome conversation in the dialogue beneath the content item. Not only did you like the item, you bookmarked it, you shared it, you marked it helpful, you've given Susan a badge, but the conversation below it is also very exciting. So you want to make sure that that user, maybe not the author, in this case it's the author, but it might be something someone said, and you might say that comment was pretty awesome. And so you give Susan a badge from there, directly from the comments. And then there might be something where you're just writing, you're excited, and you just want to reply, and all of a sudden you're replying to the comment and you're like, man, that was such a good workaround. And you say, thanks, Susan, for the great video. And as soon as you pull up her name, you can hover over and you can give her badge right there. And so you can select the badge and say, thank you so much for sharing this video, or whatever. And so right then and there, you can also give a badge. And the other place that you can also give a badge is actually going into the leaderboards. So from your profile page, if you click on Community Leaderboard, you'll go to the Community Leaderboards. There's leaderboards here and there's badges here. And you can also click on a badge these are the 4 badges available in our community. Click on something and say thank you. And then type in the username and go ahead and say thank you. But this one won't show up in line with the comments, which I think adds an additional layer of engagement when you actually do it within the comment. The problem with doing it in the comment is you can't award points that way. So if you wanted to say, hey, Susan, that was amazing, thank you for sharing, and you wanted to award points, You'd have to do it either through the profile or some other, or through your rewards system, the rewards part back end here. Say thank you, make a comment, give her, a range of points, and then just give the badge. I think they are working on, I think it's a bug that you can't give points when you're doing an @mention plus badge in line of a comment. I think that's a bug, and hopefully they'll fix it. So hopefully you will be able to do that, and you won't have to leave the conversation and come to this panel to give the points. So another thing you can do in the community is looking at the leaderboards. You can see the leaderboards. You can look at, I'm sure you'll explore this. I'm sure everyone will spend some time kind of seeing where they're at. You can look at the missions, who's getting the most, the influence mission, who's being, who's authoring the most content, who's connecting people with users and that type of stuff. So you can kind of look at that. So let's see, who's authoring the most content. All right, so Adam's authoring a lot. He's gotten already the author mission 7 times. Awesome. But you can also go in and, so if you look at your ranking of all the missions or all the point systems will always tell you the top 5 above and top 5 below, typically. And you can challenge the people above you and below you, only the 5 people above you and below you. So if I wanted to challenge Dallas, for example, I can click challenge and say something like, I'm gaining on you, watch out, I'm coming, right? Or you can taunt the people below you and say, hey, Jeff, just so you know, I know you're gaining on me, but I just passed you. Or don't you, I'm above you, don't, just, fun ways. So again, it's just fun if you want to participate in that. But the idea here on your page is you're able to see, not just on your profile, but on any user's profile, kind of just how many points they have to the next level, how many average daily points are they getting, how many points have you given away, how many you received, badges. It's just another a summary of your information here too. So you can get that from the home page, from your profile page, but you can also get it from that. Let's see, I think I covered it all. The rest I hope that you discover on your own. Don't want to give everything away. Let's go back to the presentation. Let's kind of talk about some next steps. And then I'll address some of the questions as well. I think the next steps for everybody is just to kind of play around with those user badges. I think that's where it'll be, that's the part that's, that'll be fun, I think, for everybody. Check out the new quests. People asked, I think, when, new quests will be posted. We're launching with just a minimal number of quests, and we want to emphasize the onboarding ones first. But we will be having monthly quests added. And if you're going to be in the advocate group, you will probably see a lot more there, a lot more weekly quests, but they're just going to expire quicker. But we are going to have some more quests. We're in the process of bundling a lot more playlists, and we're in the process of kind of curating some of the content in the community. And I'll also upload all of the InstructureCon badges from last year, not the activity badges, but like if you attended InstructureCon in the last 2 years, we'll upload those so that you have that level of status in the community as well. So we'll do that. I encourage you to update your general preferences now that you know what's happening with the community reward system. Every time you get a badge, you're going to get notified. So if you want to kind of modify or your updates under general preferences, there's a part for badges. So if you don't want an email every time somebody gives you a badge, that's fine, but at least you have that option to kind of granularly go in and modify your preferences if you want. And just throwing this out there, expect some type of regular level setting from here on out. Now, this is not to say we're going to go to 0 every year, not at all. But it is to say that just like Canvas, the community is just as dynamic. Things are relevant one year and totally irrelevant the next. And so People who are at the higher end of the point spectrum, for example, may go to may no longer use Canvas and are off to a different place, and then their standing is no longer relevant. So all I'm saying is things are changing, and we want to make sure that we're constantly customizing and modifying accordingly. Now, this particular one was a pretty huge level set, so we understand that we're not going to try to reset to zero and have you start over and over and over every year. We will do some type of level setting so that your status and reputation still continues. And I think that's the important thing moving forward. So again, just back to what we were saying, less emphasis on the points and stuff and more emphasis on if you reach luminary status and you get a nice flame next to your name, even if you re-level set, you're still going to have the flame next to your name. So for example, if you made it to the advocacy group and we level set, you may start with a little higher bump in points, just like we did with the legacy badge, but you'll already be in the advocacy group because we're not going to take that away from you. And so what that means is every round or every time we do kind of a level set, you'll just have a sort of a faster speed into going up the ranks. So it's like maybe 2 steps forward, 1 step back type of approach. But the idea is to make sure that we keep our badges and our quests and things relevant, and that the people in the community who are active are relevant as well. Because I think, this might be an extreme case, but nothing is sort of more frustrating than, having 2 years, 3 years down the road, a ranking system of people who no longer are active in the community. So we want to make sure that we're constantly aware that the things you're doing are always relevant, and hopefully the participation is, the member engagement is encouraged in a way that people want to participate every year and stay relevant every year. But again, I kind of at the end to kind of close, I think please feel free to reach out to me. You can contact me in the community, bri@instructure.com. I am here to take all the criticism and the feedback. I'm open to it. I've been living, breathing this for the past couple of months, and our team has been working really hard to kind of make it a smooth transition, and hopefully one that will keep you inspired instead of deflated and bummed, because we don't want that. And so again, give it a month or so, because I think that you'll see that at first it is going to be all over the place. But give it like a couple of months and it will slowly sort itself out. And the people who are up in the higher status will continue to be in the higher status. And the people who are very active and things like that will continue to rise, which is great, which is what the point of it was. We didn't want to knock everybody down. We just wanted to say, okay, here's a new way, and you'll still rise up just like you did before, hopefully in a much more, in a lot of various ways. So that's the thought process there. But I'm open to hearing from you. If there are any issues, let me know. Again, this is a new system as well as far as the software, the platform we're using. It's not just a reboot on an in the old system. So there's still a lot of feedback we would appreciate there as well. I'm going through the questions here, and again, I haven't had a chance to follow them, and there seems to be a lot. But if you have a question, I would really appreciate it if you either posted it on the event page or emailed me directly. I'd love to hear your feedback, and I'd love to see the participation. We're going to look at it from the back end and the data and see kind of other, different uses, how people are leveraging it, how people are using it, how quickly these missions are being completed, what do we do, and we're constantly looking at that too. So that's really all I have to say. If there are any questions, again, please post them on the event page, because I think just sitting here looking through scrolling through, I'm not sure that will do any of us any good. But at the end, there will be more badges. There'll be a lot more things that will roll out, and things will level set, and life is good. And we love you guys, and we appreciate you being here. Hopefully we'll see you guys in the next another Canvas Live session in the future. Please continue to follow the Canvas Live page so that you're notified of upcoming events. The next community-based session, in other words, we have our community series where we talk about different things in the community, will be in end of this month, where Renee will, another community manager, Renee will talk about the new feature ideation process. She'll shed some more light on that now that it's been active for a couple of weeks. Hopefully by then we'll get a better sense of how things are kind of rolling there. Join us in the Canvas Live user group. So if you have want to collaborate on a presentation together before presenting it to Canvas Live, we're there collaborating. It's a user group there. And then again, hang out in our Canvas chat rooms so that you can get information in real time and just kind of hang out with other community members. I appreciate everybody. Thank you so much for being here. I hope to see you in the community, and I will post this recording right after the session. Have a wonderful, wonderful weekend.